From the snow-capped peaks of Cortina to the pulsing heart of Milan, the world has arrived, and the bench is officially empty. Welcome to Olympics from the Bench. Here we go beyond the primetime tape delay and the polished medal counts to bring you the real grit of the Winter Games. We're talking the locker room drama, the underdog heartbreak, and the ice-cold tactical breakdowns that you won't find anywhere else. Whether the return of the pros to the Olympic ice arena or the chaotic debut of ski mountaineering, we're covering every inch of the 2026 Winter Olympic Games with the humanity, curiosity, and the occasional hot take that only ETB can provide you. And now, here's your host, Callan McClurg. A day of absolute extremes, the quad god ascending his throne versus the gut-wrenching fight of the Olympic queen being airlifted off of the mountain. It is day 3 of the 2026 Milan Cortina Winter Olympics, and you are locked into Olympics from the Bench on a late-night Sunday, day number 3 of competition, and of course, following suit of Super Bowl 60 in our wall-to-wall coverage. Welcome in, though, folks, to Olympics from the Bench for day number 3. Yours truly, Callan McClurg, here from the home studio in San Diego, as we get into another edition of a deep dive into the third day of competition from Milan Cortina. As always, folks, we invite you to follow us on social media. We are at ETB Network on socials, on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And, of course, find us, too, over at youtube.com/ETB Network. A major thank you and salute to our entire network family of hosts for a great weekend of Super Bowl coverage, but we will be getting back to the Olympic ways here to, again, keep everyone posted on where things stand after 3 days of competition. Hardware has been given out now in Milan Cortina, and, of course, we'll go into all the big news around day number 3, but we also today on Sunday saw Ilia Malinin fly. We saw Breezy Johnson silence her doubters with the fastest run of her life, but also saw the end of the fairy tale return for Lindsey Vonn in the one way we all feared would happen. The mountains give, the mountains take away, and we are, in fact, getting ourselves underway here this evening. We will get folks into our 3 big stories from day number 3 on the nightly podium. Number 1, of course, Team USA claims figure skating team gold. The hero, after a very much lackluster, even admitting a 50% speed and 50% performance, Ilia Malinin is the anchor of the final event. The quad god delivered a 200.03 point free skate with 5 quadruple jumps to fend off Japan's Shun Sato to claim Team USA's second gold of the day in a tournament, while Amber Glenn gritted out the women's freestyle skate points needed to keep the U.S. cushion intact despite a shaky triple axel. It goes Team USA 1, Japan 2, Italy 3, gold, silver, and bronze. And obviously, folks, I may have said this leading into Saturday, and we weren't here last night because I was away at another sporting event I was watching here locally in San Diego, that I even said, keep your eye on Ilia for his first run. And I watched it on Saturday night when I got back, and I was very perplexed, though, about it felt like, and you may not feel this way, though, if you're a diehard figure skating fan, in a way, it felt like it was one of those things we hear a lot in sports. You don't show all your cards. And obviously, Ilia, even admitted, though, to various reporters, though, after the event, I really only gave 50% of my effort. And I even was sitting here wondering, you're on the Olympic stage, my friend. Why go half-ass, basically, in your first event? But then, though, you also remember, you save your best for last. It's not how you start, it's how you end, though. And when the team needed it the most, though, Ilia stepped up in a big way, again, getting a 200.03, 5 quadruple jumps to fend off the late attack by Japan's Shun Sato in that last go-around. And also Amber Glenn helped keep the USA in the lead, despite her having a shaky triple axel. And again, it goes Team USA gold, Japan silver, Italy bronze. We all, though, in a way, at least thought USA, Japan 1-2. Where did they finish, though, in figure skating for the team side of things, though? And I think the tone got set, though, because of both Madison Chalk and Evan Bates, as we had talked about, I think, on Friday night, maybe Thursday. And then alongside them, you also had Alyssa Liu also do very, very well during her performances too. You know, though, Japan's going to be hanging around, and they were phenomenal day one, day two. And then Italy has kind of come not really out of nowhere, but they have really, though, been a top talent as well. But again, when it counts the most, though, and again, I think a lot of the casual sports fans that are watching the games in Milan Cortina, even myself as a former athlete, you hear what Ilia says after the event on Saturday. Oh, I only went 50%. And he was very shaky, looked like he was not quite in rhythm. And you're wondering aloud, though, maybe to yourself, okay, cool that you admit that, but why, though, would you say that, let alone perform that way? Then in a weird kind of, turn of events, oh, yeah, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And, of course, he goes to his bag of tricks, though, and he delivers. 5 quadruple jumps to fend off Japan, getting a 200.03 point free skate with 5 quadruple jumps, as only Ilia right now probably can right now across men's or women's figure skating. So Team USA winning their first of 2 golds on the day. Heading to the mountaintops, Breezy Johnson clocked in at 136.10, edging out Germany's Emma Eicher by a razor-thin 0.04 seconds to cash in the first Team USA gold medal of the day. Of course, we know a bit about Breezy's story, getting shut out in the most recent games, and also, more importantly, about the downhill skiing. This is the blue reband event of the games, with Sofia Goggia taking home bronze for the Italian side. And so with it going, Team USA with Johnson gold, Eicher silver, and Goggia in the bronze medal podium. Again, Breezy Johnson, great story with her coming back as time had gone on, though, from that last exchange that she had, though, a few years ago. And the emotion pouring out, as well as I saw this morning leading up to Super Bowl 60, obviously. The emotion of being on the podium. And I tie this in a little bit, though, to the Miracle on Ice, and you'll hear more about the Miracle on Ice on Benchmarks in 2 weeks' time on February 22nd, the day of the actual game that took place in Lake Placid. Is Micah Ruzioni told HBO Sports that, it's always something special when you see your flag being raised just a little bit higher than place 2, place 3, and the emotion, I think, of Johnson. For what we'll get into, though, of course, which I was very much bombastic and vocal about, though, in our bronze medal story. I think the emotion of the day for Breezy Johnson, her run is one thing. Her last Olympic outing is one thing. In a way, the bittersweetness of the gold medal for Team USA, due to the fact of our bronze medal story, Lindsey Vonn clipped a gate at 75 miles per hour and had to be airlifted to a hospital. She's in stable condition, but her run is officially over by virtue of a fractured left leg suffered today. Obviously, folks, I will admit it, raise the hand, say I was wrong on Friday when I said, if the mind is willing and the body can hold up, give it a shot. And now I think we all probably have buyer's remorse buying Lindsey Vonn stock after ripping the ACL the week before day one of the downhill event, because I know that she had the brace on and she, had taken time off of her qualifying run. She was like, top 5, top 10, top 11, top 12. But now I think we all look back now with regret and maybe in a way buyer's remorse. And I was very much pushing that on, the envelope. Hey, if Vonn can lock in, if the knee can hold up, if she wants to give it a go, let's go for it. And now we look like idiots. I look like an idiot. I'll admit it here for saying that on Friday here on, on OFTB. I'm an idiot for even saying that. And now I want to go back and question, where, though, is the medical staff? Where's the Team USA doctors? Where is where's the Olympic medical team? Hey, are you sure about this? It might be better for your long-term health away from skiing to not compete. And again, I know, yes, I said it. If anyone wants to pile on in the chat box, you can on Twitter or on YouTube to say, hey, you said this on Friday. Well, unlike certain people who used to be here, I actually own up to what I say. I was of the belief, as also as a former athlete, you play through the pain, even if it is a ripped ACL, or in Ollie Martin's case, it's a broken arm that he was battling through with the big air event for the men over the course of the weekend. And now I say I was wrong. Now I think we look back, though. You should have, Lindsey Vonn should have probably stepped aside, maybe not have come back out of the retirement phase. So I feel awful for her, though. It's another massive injury. And now, and more importantly, now we're concerned, though, at least I am. And you probably are, though, too, if you, obviously, are a Lindsey Vonn fan, or you're out here rooting for Team USA. Now you're wondering about life away from skiing with just her post-career lifestyle now, because of all the injuries of, the broken and fractured legs and the ripped ACLs and PCLs. I think NBC Sports or Yahoo even put out a graphic on Instagram today, or on social media, listing every injury Lindsey that Lindsey has racked up since 2007, nearly 20 years on the Olympic stage. That's a lot to come back from. And obviously it was, very sad to see her, go down in flames, literally and figuratively, with, how she had bailed out and fallen, wiped out, being airlifted off the mountain pass, and seeing all the outpouring of support, though, from everyone out there, from Michaela Schifrin, to Breezy Johnson. We made it a point to mention Lindsey's injury in her post-match press conference. Tough day, and I think, though, a very sour ending for one of the greatest of all time, though, when it comes to American downhill skiing, in Lindsey Vonn's injury here suffered on Sunday. Going, folks, by the numbers, the medal count is now underway. We go here by golds, not by total medals. Right now, it is the Norwegians, despite some tomfoolery that's going around the village. 3, 1, and 2. That is 3 golds, 1 silver, 2 bronze for 6 total medals. Team USA 2, 1, and 0. 2 golds, 1 silver, and no bronze for a total of 3. They're in second place by virtue of it being a gold medal count, not by total medals. Italy 1, 2, and 6 for 9 medals. Japan 1, 2, and 1 for 4, and Germany 1, 1, and 1 for 3. But takeaway so far, Norway is currently on top, thanks to ski athlon competitor Jonas Hesflot Klebo, who won the ski athlon on Sunday. Italy leads in total medals, though, fueled by a bronze, that Italy does in fact lead in total medals, though, fueled by a bronze by Dominique Fischneller in the men's luge. That was on the day as well. And also for Team USA, again to reiterate with that one, figure skating team and Breezy Johnson are now put them at number 2 after the third full day of competition. We're going to be giving folks our ETB performance of the night, though, to Breezy Johnson, winning it by 0.04 of a second, literally the length of your fingernail, after everything that she has been through, though, in the past. Again, very much, though, folks, very emotional day for Breezy Johnson. Again, as I kind of alluded to back in segment 1, though, again, about Lindsey Vonn's injury, Breezy Johnson's own comeback from injury, or from, just some issues in her career, though, that may have haunted her in 2022 in Beijing, to get that redemption here. And again, squeak it out, though, by the razor-thin margin over a very, very, very good field, though, that saw Germany in Italy finish 2 and 3, with, again, Emma Eicher and Sofia Goja going 2 and 3 in that event, though. So bravo, literally and figuratively, to Breezy Johnson. Again, a 0.04 of a second victory to win the gold medal today for Team USA in the downhill ski event. And again, as I said, Breezy Johnson, very, very emotional day on the podium, too, as they were playing the national anthem. You could, see her kind of going between singing the song, holding back the tears, letting the emotions out, though, and wishing her all the best going forward into her next events. But again, Breezy Johnson Breezy Johnson, gold medal winner, performance of the night here on ETB. Going, folks, over right now to curling. It has been utter domination. This was a great match, by the way, if you were perhaps watching it on Peacock or on USA, here for Team USA. Corey Dropkin and Corey Thesey. This curling match went down to the very end. 8-7 Team USA. They had fallen behind early, rallied right back in end number 2, took the lead, held the lead, though, got very, very tight, though. But not a surprise, though, folks, with how Corey squared, both Dropkin and Thesey have been playing Today, there was very much, though, almost a full-fledged war. Honestly, if you really ask for my opinion, I was watching this one very intently today in the midday before Nick and I hopped on for press row this afternoon for our Super Bowl coverage. Though I left to come into the studio here to do the program, and I believe the Team USA had just gone up 7-4. I thought, well, they got this in the bag though. They're like already halfway through, and then the Swedes come roaring back, literally and figuratively blow. But I will say though, I don't know what really the difference could have been though. But it always seemed like, though, that Corey Thesey has a very different way, though, of stone throwing. There's not a lot of pace behind her shots, though. But for some reason, though, she was effectively throwing every time that she had the chance to throw down the lane. And between Dropkin following it, they both follow it, though. But there was just something, though, about, like, I did notice the differences a bit. And I have been around curling a little bit, though, from my time working at a local rink here in San Diego. We have a very big curling club in town, though. So I would actually stay after my games to watch and learn the game and try to play it a little bit, though, at some kind of a basic level. But there was some simmering or some very much parallel differences. The Swedes were a little bit more aggressively throwing at certain points. Dropkin and Thesey, they were more like laid back, relaxed. Let's not, put a lot of curl or a lot of, speed, and make it work that way. And that may have been what kind of carried them over the top, though. That was a very, very entertaining match, though, between the Swedes and by Team USA for mixed curling. They move on. They are the number 2 seed going into the bracket play very, very soon. In the luge event, Tucker West finishes just outside the top 10, but did, though, go the 4th fastest final run for Team USA. I'll tell you what, folks, I get a little bit terrified a little bit. You probably do too. The luge and skeleton kind of scared the heebie-jeebies out of me, along with the big air event for snowboarding. And I am a adrenaline junkie as much as the next guy when it comes to, like, a big roller coaster, for example, or jumping off the roof of your house into your pool. But something about riding a sled down a, massively built ice slide, basically, either legs first or head first. And obviously, I recall a little bit, though, I believe it was the 2010 Olympics that the luge and the skeleton track had to be reconfigured because they had a death. And so I think they had a death and a severely injured participant during Vancouver in 12 or maybe in Sochi in 2014. I remember it being a very, national story. And they had to, redo the track, put up padded walls in certain areas, though. So I think ever since then, I've been very much a bit sketch. Honestly, a little terrified to watch that event, though. But I did watch it today, though. By the way, Germany, unbelievable for the Germans in that event today. By the way, we'll talk about that here right now via Max Longenhahn. 4 consecutive track took home gold. 4 consecutive track records for Max Longenhahn here today for Germany. I mean, it seemed like every time that I tuned in, his time was nowhere close to being beat. Everybody was like 1 second over, 3 seconds over. So another gold medal and 4 consecutive track records by Max Longenhahn today for the luge for the German national team. Back over in cross-country skiing, we already mentioned him earlier, though. But again, Johannes Hesflot Klæbo from Norway, his 6th career gold in the 20 kilometers skiathlon. That event, folks, was very much also on today. And also, talk about a ultimate test of endurance. That is one, though, where it's like NASCAR mixed in, though, with, going up and down mountains and riding, like literally seeing those, tracks in the lanes for them to go down and up the way, though. But 6-career gold medal, though, for Hesflot Klæbo of Norway in the 20 kilometer skiathlon. Again, that's a very much, folks, demanding event due to the fact, though, again, you're going up inclines, you're going down inclines. You have to also change out your skis, at these pit stops, the transition areas. You got to do this and do that. So there's a lot of moving parts, though, there for that event. And congratulations to, again, Johannes Hesflot Klæbo for winning this his 6th career gold medal in the 20 kilometer skiathlon on Sunday. Looking at, folks, a lot is happening on Monday in the day number 4. Again, all times listed here, folks, are Pacific time. Coming up in literally about an hour and a half time, just past the midnight threshold, the men's team combined downhill event with River Radamas leading the USA charge at 12:30 a.m. At 3:30 a.m., if you're going to be awake, women's free ski slopestyle final. Eileen Gu, of course, we know her very well from the Beijing Olympics. Though again, $23 million in NIL. Stanford University alum, competing for China, not for Team USA. Chasing her first gold of these games. You can catch her at 3:30 a.m. Pacific time later tomorrow morning. At 5 a.m., the men's team combined slalom. The medal will be decided here at 5 a.m. At 8:30 a.m., the women's 1,000-meter speed skating event with Jutta Leidrom of the Netherlands is the favorite again. By the way, I was going to talk about this, but I was not able to do the show yesterday on Saturday, as I already said, though, because of schedule constraints, though. A shocking development out of speed skating last Friday or over the course of the weekend. The Dutch were shut out in the 3,000-meter event. And I forgot what the stat was. I think it's the first time in at least a decade that the Dutch did not claim gold, silver, or bronze. So they'll be looking for some kind of redemption, though, on the speed skating home front for the Netherlands. So again, Jutta Leidrom is who you're going to have to be looking for at 8:30 a.m. for the Dutch national team. At 5 after 9, USA-Italy curling mixed doubles semifinals. A loud one for sure with how Team USA has been playing, though. That's at 9:05 a.m. Also at 10:30 a.m., men's normal hill ski jump final with Ryu Kobayashi looking to defend his title for Japan. And also at 11:30 a.m., the women's big air snowboard final with Kira Kimura, the name to beat as well in that event. And also Team USA women's hockey going for a 3-0 start to this tournament. They will take on the Swiss national team at 12:10 p.m. tomorrow on USA. We are still, again, folks, looking to get some more updates at this rate when it does boil down to where things stand, though. Now, thankfully, the Finnish national team did come back on Saturday to face Team USA. They got shell-shocked and they got beat 5-0. The Swiss right now are, from what we've been hearing, though, are going to be able to play this game, though, with Team USA on Monday afternoon. We're still waiting, though, if maybe something changes, hopefully. But the way that we're going, though, right now, the Finns, though, did come back, though, after their one-day postponement, though. But I definitely, though, folks, felt bad. I was telling coworkers on Saturday and friends of mine at the soccer game I went to on Saturday night, I felt really bad, though, for the Finnish national team who did not have that proverbial game under their belt because it's beyond your control, though, navigating an illness like the norovirus that has been, that has broken out across some of the village parts of Milan Cortina with where the games are at right now in Italy. And I had a very bad feeling that for them, it was going to be a long day. And it was. Team USA won the game 5-0. Had it not been, though, for their goaltender, it would have been 10-15-0. And you could definitely tell that they were a team just kind of getting out of that, post-illness, like sick bay, that feeling, getting out of it, though, getting their legs back underneath them. It was very much a one-sided tilted game, though. In that game, Alex Carpenter scores again. Hillary Knight scores, going to tie the record, though, with 14 Olympic goals for Knight in the games. Megan Keller also scored. Abby Murphy also scored in the game, as did Taylor Heisey in that game on Saturday. So Team USA Switzerland is coming up on Monday at roughly 12:10 p.m. Pacific, 3:10 p.m. Eastern time at this arena. And also the men have now finally arrived as well into Milan with Team USA, Canada, and all them now getting ready for their tournament to begin later in the week. There is, though, folks, a bit of a small follow-up at this rate. More than anything else, though, there is a story from Parker Johnson that I just came across on MSN.com concerning Lindsey Vonn and her crash today. That again, she was airlifted off the mountain to the top or to the hospital. It should be noted, though, folks, that much like Joe Theismann and Alex Smith, there is an outrage now amongst social media sports fans that the blame now is being on NBC, Peacock, and even the BBC over in the UK for repeatedly showing Lindsey Vonn's crash, the injury. I understand it, folks, for on one side of it, though, due to the fact of like, hey, it's a gnarly injury. It's this or that. We don't need to see the replay of it. The only thing I'll say about this, and why I think though that it needed to be reshown at least one time, due to the fact though that a lot of people weren't awake, as I was at 7 o'clock this morning or even earlier, to watch the event in real time. I happened to see it though on the re-airing during intermissions of events on Peacock, on Gold Zone. It was talked about by Andrew Siciliano and Scott Hansen and other people within the NBC family of networks. I get and I agree that if it's a massive injury, I just talked about Alex Smith's injury a couple weeks ago on ETV Small Market Edition. If it's Theismann, Alex Smith, if it's Sean Livingston in his broken kneecap, if it's Kevin Ware's broken leg in March Madness, or if it's even Lindsey Vonn, show the replay one time, get it over with, and don't do it again. But with this, though, I think the only reason why it's been replayed a lot is due to the fact that no one really probably was awake to watch it this morning, especially out here on the West Coast, though. That it probably had to be re-aired at least a couple times for the midday window of recaps, and then of course the primetime recaps about the day that was for day 3. But believe me, folks, I definitely concur with your thoughts and your sentiments, though, about why show it more than one time. And I think that the only problem that we're kind of getting in here, though, is were you awake watching it live and actually happen? Again, I happened to find out via the web. I saw the video on social media, which in a way, like, okay, that's a big story for the show of the night. So obviously, again, regardless, though, tough day, very tough scene, though, for Lindsey Vonn again. I again, like I said, though, folks, earlier in the show, I had very much had said on Friday, hey, let's go for it, Lindsey, show them what you got. Again, the heart being, the mind and body being willing to compete despite, the heavy brace. And then that unfortunately happens. To my point now from tonight, though, maybe somebody should have gotten in her ear and said, hey, let's not even push the envelope here. Again, think about your long-term health post your, skiing career. And again, like I said, though, very much a sour way, though, for one of the greats of all time, an American Winter Olympic history, to go out like that with the injury. And again, hoping for the best for Lindsey Vonn. But I think the feel-good story, though, of the day, though, again, is Breezy Johnson, winning the gold medal in that event today, where Lindsey Vonn, again, she sees a teammate, airlifted to the hospital today off the mountaintop, or off the mountain pass, I should say, wins it again by 400ths of a second, though, over a very good German team and a very, very good Italian team. Again, in her own story, again, with Breezy Johnson winning it all again. And as I said, though, the emotion pouring out as the anthem was being played, the tears of joy for all the hard work paying off, though. So again, bit of a sour day, though, for day 3, but still a very good day, though, for Team USA, capturing 2 gold medals today. Thanks in part again to both the team for figure skating and Breezy Johnson winning the downhill ski event today, again, literally and figuratively, edging out Germany's Emma Eicher by 0.04, literally 400ths of a second to win the gold medal for Team USA. But again, Lindsey Vonn again had clipped the gate at the start of her run and was airlifted off to a local hospital with a fractured left leg, on top of the fact, though, of that already ripped ACL she already was suffering from for over the last 7 to 8 days. Again, Corey Dripkin and Corey Thiese beating Sweden in curling 8-7 to be the number 2 seed for the tournament, and Tucker West finishing 4th with the in luge, with the 4th fastest final run just outside the top 10. And again, a whole menu of events tomorrow, including hockey once again. But with that, though, folks, in mind, 2 golds are in the bag. And sadly, we have one legend in the hospital, and the quad god is just getting started. Very much a day of high peaks and deep valleys. We will see you folks back here for the ETB Lounge on Monday. We will be morphing our coverage of the Olympics into the lounge on Monday night, with also our debrief as well of Super Bowl 60. But we'll see you folks back here for another evening of coverage. But that'll be, folks, again, in conjunction with our ETB Lounge program, again, at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific, 10 to midnight on the East Coast. With that in mind, though, folks, again, Callan McClurg saying good night here from San Diego. We'll see you folks back here to recap day 4 during hour 2 of tomorrow's ETB Network's ETB Lounge program at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, folks. Until then, have a great night and maybe even a great morning. We'll see you back here later. Till then, bye-bye.